So today I would like to try to do a short video on monkeys and humans. Monkeys and humans. What is really and truly the difference between a monkey and a human? Now I said in another video that I think, it was in Territory Image Reason video, that even a monkey uses tools, so I mean, of course we're much more advanced. That's all it is. We're advanced species of animals, so to speak. Like Aristotle once said, we're a social political animal. The way we organize our civilizations are much more complex than a monkey, but nevertheless monkeys are very similar to us. I mean, they use tools. They use sticks to dig out termites or ants from the ground. They use even rocks as destructive weapons. They throw things at other monkeys or maybe other animals that maybe they're trying to protect their young or they're protecting their territory. And we're just advanced in tool making. The tool making, like when we first started, like with the spears, and then we decided to put some poison on the end. After, one of the tribal men, one of the other tribe guys ate a berry and he died. It was like, holy shit, this my best friend, so to speak, my best friend just died on me. Holy shit. Just think what I could do with that poison berry. I probably can put that on the end of the spear and shoot that and kill that damn deer out there. And that's probably where it started at, So a human die eating a berry, well, it's relative to killing an animal for food. And so things like that advanced, and then through folklore and through pastime and through verbal record, because they didn't have any writing skills. They painted on, they used certain kinds of clays and stuff to, they have caves that have, artwork of, horses and different types of animals. And then as time advanced, look at the Egyptians. I mean, they're real, they're into humans on their pyramids, on the walls and everything. So it's just a question of advancing. But why I made this video is that the only thing that really, truly separates the human from the ape or from the orangutan or from the Gibson or from the gibbon, or from the monkey or chimpanzee is reason. We're able to reason. That's where law comes into play. As far as writing law, as far as complex civilizations, as far as the structures themselves, the politics that are involved, the social hierarchies that are involved, the differences between the classes, the very wealthy, the rich, the middle, the lower, the ones that live under a bridge. So we're much more complex in our reasoning skills. And we can reason. We can we could do card tricks, magicians. That's a lot of reasoning in there, believe it or not. To figure that out, how to fool the spectator, you had to reason through these options to be able to just do a card trick and fool the spectator. So, and then of course, law itself is very complex. Law is, what you really have is, you have the facts, you have the law, and then you have the reason. So if the facts are true, and those facts caused you injury, then if there's law, or you maybe set precedents and through a really good legal argument based upon other case law, but to set precedents like Roe versus Wade, perfect example. I think it was in 1973, Roe versus Wade. Okay, so the U.S. Supreme Court decided when is life viable? In other words, when can the fetus somewhat live outside of the human body or outside of the mother, even if it's sustained on machines or life support systems? When can that being or that child, so to speak, or that fetus, when is it viable? That was a whole legal argument. So what it's saying is that in order for because of course the U.S. Supreme Court is all about U.S. Constitution. So in order to apply the U.S. Constitution, so they have federal standing, or they have standing before the court. That is, they're able to bring a claim before the court. And it's a social question, it's a federal question. Then in order to do that, it must somehow or another the U.S. Constitution has to apply. And what they did was, under the 14th Amendment, which is gives the court or the government, mainly the court system, jurisdiction over the states to make sure they apply the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And then of course the Fourth Amendment. So Roe versus Wade, of course that was about abortion, right? It had to do with the 14th Amendment, and what it was life. The main thing in that amendment is life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And so what they were doing is, in order to protect that fetus, when can that fetus be considered, when is it life? When is it life? And so the U.S. Supreme Court decided life is when it's viable. That is, when it can live outside the womb, even if it's on life support. That's the question. That was the legal argument. And then, of course, the Fourth Amendment kicked into place as far as what the government, how much intrusion the government can have or take in your bedroom. So between the Fourth and the 14th Amendment, that's how the U.S. Constitution was applied. Therefore, it gave Roe. It was Roe versus Wade County in Texas. It gave Roe standing before the U.S. Supreme Court. So once that happened, then it was just a question of the legal argument or the reasoning level. So they had the facts, of course. She wouldn't have an abortion. And the state said no. And then, of course, they had the law. And the law was the 14th and the Fourth Amendment, plus case law that was before that. But they never ruled ever before on such a serious topic before. So they wound up setting precedents. Setting precedents through the reasoning skills. Now, monkeys don't sit around writing law books, reading in law books, arguing legal theory, and all this. And that's the difference, the only difference really between a monkey and you and I. And that is, we're much more complex in our thinking. We're much more advanced. And it has to do with reasoning. Reasoning. That's all it is. They reason, don't get me wrong. You could hide a banana on a monkey, right? And that monkey probably can try to deduce it to a degree and try to find the thing. Probably finding it through smell, because their smell is much more advanced than you and I. But let's say if you put a ripe, unpeeled banana in a jar with a lid on it, as tight as can be, tape it around, glue it, and tape it, so there's no way any smell of the banana can come out of that jar. And you show the monkey different places where it's hidden, and then put the monkey, I don't know, 200 feet away from it. That monkey can figure out. And you could put all kinds of obstacles like chairs in the way and tables and cabinets and, all kinds of obstacles. And that monkey will eventually find that banana in a jar. Through his reasoning skills, he's able to manipulate objects, of course, because he has digits, they have thumbs and everything. So they're able to manipulate objects out of the way, and they'll eventually find that jar. Now, on the other hand, if you put a monkey behind put him behind, funny, a monkey can ride a bicycle. If you teach a monkey how to do a bicycle, they could do a bicycle. Like in the circus, they have monkeys doing bicycles. So they're able to learn those types of things. I don't know if it really realizes it's actually riding a bicycle and what it takes to do that. You need round wheels. I mean, without the wheel, the wheel was created by the Sumerians. The Sumerian civilization actually created the wheel. And so, I mean, the monkey probably don't realize that if we have square tires, it's pretty hard to drive that bike. But I mean, he doesn't understand the mechanics or the essence of the bike. But he can be trained to, ride a bike. Now, on the other hand, let's say if have a monkey build a computer, be pretty difficult. But then again, humans probably can't just build a computer. You got to go, and either take a course in college or take some kind of course in a technical college, people think, oh, we have a computer. Wow, we're really smart humans. Not really, because actually the computer was a very long history. I mean, it happened, I think it was back in almost the 1800s when they had these little ideas of, they have little calculators and they could calculate numbers on this. And they considered that a calculator. That was like the first calculator because it calculated things, through, you set like, 4, 5, 9, and then, it gives you the options, and then comes up with what 4, 5, 9 is 18. So it comes up with that number. And then as time went by, it advanced itself to the the extreme super databases that are in the bluffs in Utah down to the NSA. So we have come from history. It's just the computer just didn't pop up. It wasn't like some humans said, oh, well, I'm going to make a computer today. No, it was a very, very long history. Just like Einstein. Einstein, he was a smart guy, but it's not like he just popped up with the theory. Oh, he was 4 years old and he thought, that's what EM equals MC squares. I get it. E equals. Okay, now I understand. No, it's not. He read a lot of books. He theorized. He did a lot of research. He had a lot of scientists before him, physicists before him, chemists, and all these characters before him, through a very, very extreme long history, to get to Einstein. Now, of course, Einstein was able to take all these different theories and formulas and all this research and put it in perspective and then make his point, make his theory. So, that's where his genius lies at, okay? But what I'm saying is he just didn't come up with it out of the blue, And so, through a long process, through reasoning and having tools to manipulating different objects to whatever your goal may be, whatever you're creating or whatever developing. And then you wind up, especially through the reasoning level, to achieve all these different objects. But we're basically like a monkey. We have all the emotions. I can't remember the emotions. I read that once. I think it's hate, love. Hate, love. I can't remember. Jealousy. I think like 7 or 8 of them. I can't even remember what the hell they are. I know guilt is man-made. That's something that your mother teaches you. Or your father. But there's like 7 or 8 emotions. Envy. What is it? There's some other ones. Anyway, you could research that on Google. Give you something to do. But anyway, we have all those basic emotions. I mean, monkeys, they worry about their young. They love their young. They could hate. Anger is the other emotion. Anger is a biggie. Monkeys have anger. Monkeys envy other monkeys. Like one monkey sitting up on a stone and he's overlooking everything, and the other monkey's like, "Damn it! I wish I was up on top of that damn stone, but I can't kick that damn monkey's ass yet." And they have jealousy. They fight amongst themselves for, that monkey looks sexy. That's a sexy monkey. I want that monkey for myself. And the other monkey says, "Oh, no, that's my monkey." "Oh, yeah? Well, we'll fight over that girl, monkey." And jealousy. So, and pretty much a lot of animals. I mean, dogs. I have dogs and I have a cat. They have that basic kind of emotional aspect to them. But they don't have that reasoning skill. And, I watch my dog and he'll take a biscuit. I don't know if you see this, but he could take a biscuit. She'll take a biscuit and put the biscuit between her paws and then eat it. So she manipulates that object the best she can because she doesn't have the digits. But she can manipulate those objects the best she can with her paw to get it positioned so she could eat it really well. I used to really be into rats, domesticated rats, mice when I was very young, but rats, and they have digits, and they will take a piece of food or whatever, and they will, roll it around in their digits to eat, to get every little side of that piece of whatever they're eating, a piece of popcorn. So they'll move that piece of popcorn. So they have digits, and rats have pretty good reasoning skills. That's why one of the unfortunate things that rats are usually lab rats, because they have such reasoning skills. But of course, they don't have the advanced reasoning skills. Like I think the most advanced part of humanity outside of the sciences, that is outside of like Einstein's relativity theory, or like medicines, or like heart surgery, brain surgery, all these other kind of medical, I had a friend years ago in 1986. I won't say his name, but he went to New York Medical College. You'll get a kick out of this. He went to this. Unfortunately, this video is going to be long too, because I have so many different points to make my point. But anyway, so anyway, he went to New York Medical College in Tarrytown, New York, and I'd visit him up there once in a while. And one time, I visited him at where he was living at, and he was studying. I sort of disturbed him. He was studying his medical books, and he showed me this thing that he was he had to memorize all these different veins in the neck. I mean, you got hundreds of veins, little veins all in your neck, and he had to memorize every single vein for the test that he was going to do. But anyway, he took me to the New York Medical College. Now this is like around 10 o'clock at night, and he had access to the research lab. And he took me in there. I'll never forget it. And he thought I'd get a kick out of it because I'm a writer, so it would be like for some kind of mystery novel or something, you know. But anyway, he took me into the cadaver room, and you had all these dead bodies laying on these slabs. I don't know how many there were, 10, 15 of them, all like in a circle. They were all laying naked on these like these slabs, like you know, like when you go to the doctor's office and they have that sort of that metal bench thing and with the cushion that you sit up on. Well, that's what it was like. They were, except they weren't like reclined or anything. They were laid flat. And they're all around these tables or these slabs, so to speak, and they're all naked. And so we went up to one of them, and he showed me an open neck of this old man that died, because they give their bodies to science, so that's, if you're an organ donor or something, you could wind up in a medical college, by the way. So anyway, he showed me it was open, the neck, and they were studying all the veins that were in there. And I remember it looked like wires. It looked like AT&T wire. You ever see those AT&T wires? All those wires in their servers in the computer room. I mean, all those little tiny wires, or the old telephone. Remember when we used to have old landline telephones, and you'd see these big, huge coils with all these, like maybe 100 or 300 little wires on this one little coil. Well, that's what it looked like. That's what's inside your neck, all these little veins. And then he took me over to this other table, and it was an old lady. She looked like she was 90 years old, and they were studying her, and they had her in pieces, unfortunately. And it didn't really gross me out. Kind of strange. I was sort of I was like intrigued by it. So he just did this, because I'm sure he's a doctor now. I haven't been in touch with him since the late 80s, but I mean, I'm sure he wanted to be a gynecologist. So I'm sure that he is has a great career. But anyway, so he picks up this old lady's head, and hands it to me. And I'm holding this lady's head in my hands. And it's all scraggly hair and real scraggly. But, I mean, they preserve these bodies with chemicals and stuff. But still, it's all scraggly. And she had hair coming out of her nose. And she had these teeth were all messed up. And anyway, he said to me, I'm looking at this... since he just handed the head to me, it was the strangest fucking thing in the world. But anyway, I'm just sort of like, but anyway, he said that when he looks at these dead bodies, he thinks to himself, what kind of life did they live? Sort of this touching moment there as I'm holding this old lady's head in my hands. It was the strangest feeling. It's really weird. Even to this day, it's a bit, I'm a bit detached to it, because it's such a, you don't normally do that, unless you're maybe you're a doctor and you're doing an autopsy or something, you don't normally, or maybe a police officer, you come upon a crime, a crime scene or something. But I mean, that was just really weird. Anyway, then he took me into this other room, and on the shelf, they have all these huge mason jars. And they have all these fucking human brains. These human brains in all these jars. And there's a liquid in there preserving it. And then he showed me a microscope. And he had me look in the microscope. A real high-powered microscope. These things must cost like $10,000 a piece for one of these microscopes. And I'm looking at it. And he's showing me how all this bacteria, how it moves, and it was an extremely interesting experience. Anyway, he also showed me when I was in the cadaver. He showed me a man with a black lung. He died of lung cancer, and it was literally black. I mean, black like your normally, your keyboard is black. It's about as black as that, and it was just a little strange kind of lung, but anyway, it was just completely black. There wasn't even black spots or anything. Sometimes you'll see that in pictures. No, this thing was solid black. It was just a fucking, and that's what happens. You die of lung cancer. I can't imagine how that human lived, to die of such black lungs. That's fucked up shit. Anyway, so that was an interesting experience. But why I say this all is that things like that's some serious reasoning. I mean, you won't see no fucking Dr. Monkey. These doctors and these guys. They're especially the ones that work in labs and stuff and do a lot of research and development to prevent diseases or whatever have you. That's a lot of reasoning. That's a lot of reasoning skills going on in there. And then the other thing is, of course, it could be, of course, we discussed law. Well, I spoke about law. But the other thing is, like, how about to build a car? You want to build a car? I don't know how to build a car. Let alone be work in a science lab. And I'm not a lawyer, but I know enough about law, but not that much. I'm no lawyer. I'm no Supreme Court justice. I love reading law. I love the reasoning behind it, cross-referencing things and things like that. But I'm not educated in that. I mean, lawyers can spit out cases and rules of the court like this, like that's why you should never go into a court of law pro se. I mean, you go into a court of law pro se, all the lawyer has to say to the judge, one rule, and you're like, where the fuck is that rule in the book? And it'll take you forever to look for it, and the judge is losing patience, and he'll just fucking dismiss your case because you're not prepared for the court. The judge isn't there fucking to babysit you. He's there to move from one case to the next case, move from one case to the next case. He's not. He'll have a little patience with you, but if you got to find a rule out of the blue that the other lawyer is moving the court through a motion. A motion is a request of the court to dismiss a lawsuit for lack of claim or something or whatever it may be. And he spouts out this fucking rule of the court, and you're not prepared for that, and you got to look through the rules of the court, and you can't find it in time, just on that technicality, because you're not prepared for the court. That lawsuit's dismissed. So, you should never go into actual courtroom to as pro se. Those people that do that are fucking bananas. I mean, it's one thing to write a legal brief. Legal briefs are pretty interesting. I'm not going to get into too much of that in my own life, but I've written legal briefs, and they're really cool. I love writing legal briefs. I on the appellate level, like on appellate review, I could do really well there. Oh yeah, even though I don't have a law degree, believe me. It take me a long time to research and do things, but I'll tell you something, I could write a badass fucking legal argument. And that's where I'm at. That's where my head's at. But if as far as going to court, actually appearing before the judge and arguing a difficult case or something, I'm not talking about small claims court. I'm talking about complex issues. Fucking forget about it unless you're a lawyer. Just forget about it. And plus they have their own, they have legalese. So they have their own communication. They have their own legal terms that he could throw something out, the lawyer, and you'll be like, wait, hold it. What the fuck did he just say? And the judge understands. Once again, you're not prepared for the court. And they'll probably dismiss your case. Or throw your ass in jail if it's a criminal case. I mean, you got to be sort of fucking nuts, especially if you committed a crime and you're gonna be your own lawyer. So you're gonna defend yourself. All right, but anyway, And so that's that. So that's the law. And then, of course, like I was going to say, to build a car, to build an automobile. I mean, you know how much shit goes into that? Just the ignition system. I don't even understand it. I mean, I understand how it somewhat works with the gas and the air, and you need the spark of the ignition, and I understand basic ideas and the oil and the transmission fluids and the coolant system, and I understand it basically. But to build one of those fucking things, forget it. And of course, that came from a long history of combustion engines that go back into the 1800s, even before that. But still, you got to be educated somewhat to understand. Unless you grow up around your father or your mother that does work on their cars. I knew a guy about 10 years ago. He would take his whole fucking car apart, the engine, just to clean it. And he'd replace old parts that needed replacing. But yeah, and it was interesting how he did. See, that's the other thing. You have to really think. You have to have the image right. So when he takes that car apart, he places it on the ground. Each part, the first part goes the farthest, and then the next part goes the next one, the next. And so when he puts it back together, they all go back into place. Plus, he probably knew how to do it anyway without all that. But it made it a lot easier for him to spread it out on the ground and then slowly put it all back together again. And that alone, the reasoning level behind that. I mean, you know how many fucking parts are in a freaking engine? Let alone the dashboard. Let alone your exhaust system, let alone your four-wheel drive systems, let alone the upholstery, How do you build a steering wheel? I don't know. I mean, I understand the basic components, but I don't know how to build a steering wheel. And that's the reasoning, You could you could go to college, you can go to technical college, you can go to auto body school, all this shit. But if you can't reason, I'll tell you, I'm going to give you a perfect example. I'm going to look like a fucking moron by saying this. But I'm going to do it anyway. This is a perfect example of reasoning. And I'll take it as a personal note. It was, I don't know. This is like 1978. And my mother had wanted me to get a trade. She wanted me to have some kind of trade, right? So she put me through this technical college, and I had different, I could be in the auto body, or the auto shop, or I could be in the electronics shop, or there were other, they had like the food management shop, they had different types of shops. So I decided to go into the electronics shop, which was stupid as shit, right? So they had and then back in those days, the old TVs, the tube, they didn't have the LCDs and the LEDs and the plasmas and everything else, the 4Ks they have now. They had the tube TVs. So I'm sure they didn't want me to monkey around with their TVs, So they gave me a toaster, and I'll never forget. Oh, man, this is very embarrassing, but what the fuck. Anyway, he gave me a toaster, and he said, look, take this toaster apart and then put it back together again. And I'm looking at this toaster, and I'm thinking, oh, this, I was about 19 years old, And I'm looking at this toaster, and I'm thinking, oh, this can't be too difficult. So I take the toaster apart. I take it completely apart. Everything. And then when it was time to put the toaster together again, I think I got about 1/3 into it and couldn't figure it out. I got a little bit done, but just couldn't put the toaster back together again. And for one thing, I probably, like the guy with the car, I didn't set out the pieces a certain way, or I just didn't have the reasoning skills to put a toaster together. I might be able to do a toaster now. I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, on YouTube channel, they have this one guy named, this one channel called Indoor Smokers with Chris. And he's a cool guy. I mean, I don't really buy any of the products he advertises, but He's a really cool guy because I love his humor. It's awesome humor. He's a philosopher. He has a degree in philosophy. You know, he's a smart guy. You know, so I like watching him. You know, he comes across as a clown, but he's really a smart, very highly intelligent guy. So anyway, he doesn't want to build RDAs. He never wanted to build RDAs. Now I watch the other guy, Rip Trippers. Now he's a badass. He's a great fucking. If you're into e-cigarettes or the vaping community, watch Rip Trippers. I mean, this guy can fucking. I mean, does it everything. He does everything. So, but my point is, Chris from Indoor Smokers, he makes it out like it's so difficult to build an RDA. And then I started building an RDA, I don't know, about 2-3 years ago. And, well, no, it wasn't 2-3 years. It was about a year and a half ago. Yeah, because I did old tanks, like pro tanks and shit like that. That's right. It was about a year and a half. About 18 months ago. Anyway, so I thought it would be difficult as hell to do an RDA. And I was like, my first RDA coil was fucked up. I didn't do it right. And then the second one, I started realizing what I did wrong. And then I was like, whoa, shit, this is easy shit. And now I love RDAs. I have like the Kangaroo, I don't know if you can see this, but I have the Kangaroo Tank Mini, Kangaroo Sub Tank Mini. But, you could build on that. And I have done that with a 26 gauge coil. But I prefer just to use a fucking coil on this thing. I don't, you know. But I don't know if you can see some of this. Like this is a troll. Fuck. You know, just a Dogex. You know, there's a Mephisto. This is my favorite one. I did this in another video actually. The El Cabron and the Black Hawk Panzer mech mod. Anyway, but my point is this, is that I'm really good at building fucking RDAs. I'm a badass RDA builder. But if you give me a fucking automobile to put together or a fucking toaster, probably not. Though maybe now I could do a toaster. I don't know. But the point is, of this whole entire, I use all these examples, of course. And if you lasted this long with me, my point is this, is that we have reasoning level, which is very advanced over a monkey. And through all those types of examples that I've used, it just like the RDA didn't, like, I'll use the RDA as an example. The RDA just didn't pop up out of the fucking blue. It was a process there. You know, quantumizers, then you had tanks, then eventually someone said, oh shit, you know, fuck. Take everything out of there and just leave the deck. And then, you know, and it took off. So there was a history even to the vaping community or to the e-cigarette. You know. So the point is we have our histories, so we learn from those histories. We have books, we have images, we have graphics, you know, and we all learn from that. We pass that on. We have colleges, technical colleges, and all this shit, right? We have all this stuff that teaches us to imprint on our brains all these images and these ideas and things. But then what really matters is reasoning. Reasoning level. The reasoning skill. Like, I'll use a perfect example one more time, and then I'll let this one go. I have a cousin-in-law. I won't say his name. He is mentally retarded. I know I'm not supposed to say retarded, but I don't really give a fuck. You know, the new word is mentally challenged. You know, I always say the guy that came up with, or the guy or the girl that came up with the idea of mentally challenged was actually challenged to figure that one out. But he's mentally retarded. That is, he's slow. I don't look at him as, you know, in a derogatory sense. No, he's fucking slow. That's what he is. He's slow. I mean, he's smart in his own way in certain things, but he's also, well, he's fucking slow. Now, why I'm gonna give you a perfect example, because retarded means slow. Retarded, retards. It's slow. So anyway, because I'm not a type of guy. You're not going to get political correctness from me. I can fucking tell you that right now. So anyway, my cousin-in-law is mentally retarded, and I'm going to use an example as to prove that. I once, and he had like a good friend that they both lived together in this house across from their parents. And the other kid passed on, but anyway, that's a sad thing. I'm not going to get into. But anyway, what I tried to do once, and I said, "Oh, what the fuck," on a back road. These are mentally retarded kids. I mean, they were like, I don't know, IQ of maybe 50, 45, maybe 60. No, I don't think 60. Maybe 60. Probably about 45. I mean, they're mentally retarded. Okay. And they could just about write. One can just about write his name. Okay, let alone the other one could. The other one was the one that died was he had choked on a chicken McNugget. Anyway, he swallowed. Because when they eat, they don't think so much. Anyway, but it could happen to you and I too. Don't get me wrong. You could die with a teaspoon of water if it goes down the wrong pipe. But anyway, the point is anyway, he had passed on, but he was a little bit smarter than my cousin-in-law. And anyway, on the back road, I took these two on a back road and I put them in my own car. And we went on a back road, no one's around. And first I had I'm just going to use their first letters to their names. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to call one A and one B. So the A was a smarter mentally retarded child, and the B is not as smart as the other one. Okay. So the first one I put I put A behind the wheel, and I'm in the passenger, and he's behind the steering wheel. And he's, I got him to move up because he was a short little guy, and so I got him. He was like, can't remember, like 30 years old or something. The other one was like 28 or whatever. I don't know what the hell it was. Anyway, but they were over 21 years old. But anyway, so they're behind the wheel, and he's scooting up the seat, and I'm told him the position, though he's not going to be using it, but I told him, position your rear view mirror and position your side mirror and get acquainted, look around, but mainly look up ahead. There's your brake, here's your gas pedal, get a grip of the steering wheel. I drive, like real easy, I'm real relaxed, but, I want to make sure that he knows what he's doing, so he's got a grip of the steering wheel. And I said, now, what you do is you let go of the brake and very slowly, not a lot, press the gas pedal. Now, he actually drove. This fucking kid actually drove. He only drove 5 miles an hour, okay? But he actually drove about 100 feet. He actually drove. Okay? I'm going to make a point here, because I am not, what is the word? I am not advocating this, okay? I'm not advocating this, but there's an actual point to it, okay? So he actually drove about 100 feet, and he stopped. And the funny thing, I don't know if it was by luck or whatever, but when he stopped the car, he actually brought that fucking car slowly to a stop. Instead of jolted, he actually, drove it and brought it to a slow stop. And I was like, I'm not going to say his name, but that's my dog. But, shh, be quiet. That's the dog back there. So anyway, so I actually, I said, yeah, his name, but I'm going to say A. Hey, A, you did great, and he was real happy, So then he went into the back seat, and then had B get into the steering wheel. Okay, so he's behind the steering wheel. He does the same thing, gets ready, and then he presses the gas pedal, and he presses it too hard, and it sort of shoots a little bit, but not enough. He was only going maybe 10 miles an hour. And then I told him, well, brake it. So he braked the brake pedal, and man, the car went like this, And it was like, I said, you did good, but, I'm looking at A back there and thinking, he didn't do that well. It's like you, And he started laughing. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here, okay, is that their reasoning skills, or like if you could not ever put them in traffic, you couldn't do that. It's impossible to put a mentally retarded child behind the wheel in traffic. Couldn't do that. Maybe on a back road with no one around, and even that you got to be really careful. But in traffic, and even downtown traffic, let alone the fucking highway, fucking forget about it. Why? Because their reasoning skills aren't that good. They can't reason. There'll fucking car come out of the blue. They can't reason how to step on the gas pedal. It's bad enough that we have to do it, right? Someone shoots in front of you without a blinker, and you're like, motherfucker, God damn. And then not only does he shoot in front of you without a blinker, but then he slows down the fucking car. I always say, if you're going to do some stupid shit like that, put the gas pedal on and keep going forward so I don't fucking have to slam my fucking brakes on, You got a bunch of assholes out there, or you got these road rage motherfuckers, they think you cut them off or something, and then all of a sudden they come fucking following you. But what I do is I just let off that gas pedal and drop all the way back just to cool his ass out, and he'll go on his way, or she'll go on his way. Usually it's a he. Go on its way, and then that's it. But anyway, the point is if you took that mentally retarded child and put them in traffic, especially downtown where all the fucking cars and the fucking traffic lights and all the signs and everything. I mean, for one thing, they couldn't even pass the written test, okay? Let alone the driver's test. So, I mean, and that is because the reasoning level, okay? They can't reason that complex. There's a lot of shit going on out there on the like downtown Tulsa, There's no, even at fucking 4 a.m. when no one's around, you've got to be aware of shit because it's dark out there, and even though you have headlights and shit and some lights, there's some assholes going to jaywalk, some drunk out of the blue, and you got a snap decision to put the fucking brake on or slow up. Right? That mentally retarded child's going to be like right into the fucking guy. You can't reason that fast enough. You can't think that fast. And that's the difference. So that's a perfect example as to reasoning. The reasoning level, even amongst humans, let alone between the monkey and the human. Understand? So, anyway, I know this video went on much longer than I wanted to. But the difference between a monkey and a human is reasoning level, is how to reason. And humans are just more advanced, more complex than a monkey. That's all. But the monkey has a monkey. I'm gonna go on the record by saying this: a monkey does everything like a human does. Everything. Every fucking thing you can imagine, that's what a monkey does. Everything that you can do in life, a monkey can do. The only difference is that they're just not as advanced. Meaning they could ride a bicycle, but I don't think a monkey could drive a car in downtown Tulsa, Oklahoma. I don't think that's possible. So it's the reasoning level there. You might be able to train a monkey. I don't know. That'd be an interesting thing. My advice to anyone that wants to train a monkey to drive a car is take it on the back road. No pun intended, by the way. But the point is I'm not calling my cousin-in-law a monkey. He's much more advanced than that. See, that's the other thing. He's more advanced than the monkey. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but he is. He's more advanced than the monkey. I mean, he uses cell phones and shit. I mean, he got cell phones and calls people. His communication, he's pretty good at communication, and he understands something. Sometimes he gets a joke or something. Sometimes he doesn't, But he loves his fucking cell phone, and it's a real cell phone. It's not really a fucking flip phone or anything. This is a fucking. I think he has like a Samsung or something. Like a $200-300 cell phone or whatever the hell he has. It's a real. And then I remember that one time he was into cameras and stuff, digital cameras. Both A and B were both into fucking cameras, and they had pictures out of your ass. I mean, they had so many fucking pictures. They took pictures of everything, and they were really into it, and they were doing some cool pictures, not just stupid pictures, but they were trying to landscapes and stuff, and trying to get group shots and angle shots and shit like that. Not too complex, but still, And I'm no photographer, My wife is really good at that. She has a really keen eye for that. I always wanted her to take photography class, but of course, I don't know. She never did. And I bought her a really nice Minolta 35 millimeter, and then she used it for a little while, and then she gave that up. I bought it on eBay, and then I wound up selling it back on eBay. But anyway, so that's it. The reasoning level is all it is. All it is. And, humans shouldn't think that we're so great, really. I mean, we're cool. I mean, we're a pretty cool species, don't get me wrong. We're really cool social, political animals. Absolutely, don't get me wrong. I think a lot of humans out there are a bunch of assholes, but, I could be an asshole too, so, I mean, I think everyone would be an asshole from, Obama on down. I'm sure can be a big asshole sometimes. I'm sure anybody, NSA director, CIA director, they could all be assholes, FBI director, UN Secretary General. I mean, we could all be assholes. I don't care. Even my own mother and father probably were assholes sometimes. Who knows? We're all assholes at one time or another. But anyway, I don't know why I said that, but yeah, it's true though. We're all assholes. Once in a while, we're just assholes. But anyway, the point is the reasoning level between a monkey and a human. A human is much more advanced, more complex than a monkey. That's all it really is. And with that, after this very long video, hopefully you guys stuck around. Maybe not. I don't know. Sometimes, But, I want to say this real quick. I try to get as many different examples and points, and then I bring it all together at the end. And that's just my style of doing things. And I'm like that in real life, too. And I like to observe, and I like to take it from different angles and then put it in perspective. I mean, that's who I am as a person. I've thought like that for... When did that start? Oh, man. Well, that started when I was a kid. When I was a little fucking kid. I think that started when I was about, if I can remember right, probably 6 years old, around there, 5 or 6 years old. The earliest memories I have is about 1964. I was at a Golden Slipper camp in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. I remember I used to hang with these like 3-4 other kids, but I used to, and they used to be little maniac kids, little fucking asshole kids, And I was always thinking like, I always sort of took the observation kind of stance and never wanted to be too much of an asshole. I mean, I could be an asshole when I was a kid. Don't get me wrong, believe me. And as time went on, I became more of an asshole. But nevertheless, at that time of my life, if I remember right, about 1964, so I was about 5 or 6 years old. I pretty much a lot of things scared me. So if those kids were a bit more, more, I don't know, more confrontational, I tended to be on the backdrop and watching. I didn't want to be directly involved. So therefore I always had that observational kind of stance. I was able to take everything in and say to myself, oh, I don't think I want to go along with these fucking kids today, or something like that. So anyway, you guys have a good day. Bye.